What up, Big Dan?
What up, Tim?
Ain't nothing. I'm here.
Everything good?
Yes, sir. I'm out here in Jersey just doing what I do, you know?
Absolutely. New Jerusalem in the building, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Yo, Vince, so how you doing today? What's good with you, man?
Ain't nothing, man. You know, we shit, a lot going on, man. We just dropped our collaboration sneaker with UN Athletics today. That just popped off. And man, I've been on the phone the last 2 days with management, Kay and Treach. We're getting ready for this 30th anniversary. You got a crazy 30th anniversary documentary rocking out, man. So it's a lot going down. Our earmark is September. So we gonna put it down, man, to celebrate this 30th anniversary crazy big. It's crazy. It's 30 years already.
30 years, man. You look like you 22. What you talking about 30 years?
Yeah, man. Just turned 50 last September. You know what I mean?
Congratulations, man. You made the big 5-0, baby.
Yeah, definitely. That's a milestone, man. Especially, you know, we come from our humble beginnings, man, surviving these hip hop streets, you know?
Wow, you're right about that. You know, but one thing I can say for sure, the world, all the hoods in the world know Naughty by Nature. How about that?
Yeah, definitely, man. It's a blessing, yo. And we thank all the people for all that love, man. 30 years in the game as Naughty, so that's crazy.
30 years in the game. So check it out. So before we get into that, we're gonna get back to that. You know, a lot of people, you know, they know Naughty by Nature, they know y'all platinum selling group and stuff like that. But how did Naughty by Nature come together from when y'all was young?
Right. Well, when we were young, we got together in high school, man. KG and I lived like 3 blocks away from each other. Treach lived a little across town, but we basically lived in like a 5-block radius from each other. And, you know, I used to break dance and beatbox. I used to break dance. You know what? It's crazy. I didn't even know that. I used to break dance with my man Jabril Peppers' father, yo. So Jabril Peppers played for the New York Giants. So his pops, Terry Peppers, you know, he was my OG and he taught me how to break dance. So I was locked in with him. Right. And right across the street, KG, you know, lived right across the street from Ski. And I used to beatbox and break dance and then go across the street to KG and beatbox for him while he was DJing. And then in my health class, sophomore year in high school, you know, Treach used to be in my class, man. Every other day, he'd come to me with a new rhyme while I'm beatboxing for him. So I told KG, I'm like, yo, it's this kid in my health class. He comes with ill rhymes every other day. So he told me to bring him around. And once I brought Treach around, you know, we all knew each other, but, you know, we just got together. And, you know, Kay was a senior in high school, so he wanted to do the senior high school talent show before he got up out of there. And, you know, we didn't even have a name for our group or nothing. We were just like, fuck it, let's go in there and rock out. So we ended up rocking out. And actually, we had another beatbox, Octobox, and another DJ. We were like the Get Fresh crew. So we did our first, we did our first show like that as a talent show, man. And it went over well. And basically, that was the beginning. But, you know, we weren't Naughty by Nature by then. We used to run routines and we scratched in the Beastie Boys. It's the new style. So we rocked out to the new style record. And after it went over, we were like, bet, we should name ourselves the new style. And, you know, that was the beginning of everything.
New style. So once that started, y'all started performing different places and stuff like that, or what?
Yeah, definitely. Because after high school, you know, we did the talent show. And of course, you have the doubters and the naysayers like, that was cool, but y'all ain't going no further than that. But, you know, back then in the 80s, man, that was like 87. So hip hop was on fire. And we had a lot of local clubs around the way where you could perform. So I remember in particular Club 88 out there, they had the Tough Teen Talent Competition. So we used to go out there and compete with everybody. I mean, Queen Latifah, you had Rod Digger, Redman, Lords of the Underground, you know, Wyclef, Lauryn Hill, Prize, all of these different crews was out there, Artifacts. All of them, we all came up together. So we used to compete against each other in the Tough Teen Talent Competition. And, you know, once we were catching that groove, it was a kid around our way, Mike C. He was dealing with Joey and Sylvia Robinson from Sugar Hill Records. So he had a deal with them and he put us on to them. And eventually we went to Joey and Sylvia Robinson and we signed to them as the New Style. So we put out a first album, first single as the New Style with Sugar Hill Records. And it definitely didn't go anywhere. And they were past their heyday, but we was like, fuck it, let's go for it.
Yeah. So that was like, so how did they treat you over there at Sugar Hill?
Well, you know, the thing about Sugar Hill is that they were past their prime because we caught the very tail end of what was going on with them because, you know, all of their legendary artists, Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel, all of those guys, they had either left and or sued them, you know? So it was lawsuits flying all over the place and they were suing the distributors. So as I recall, you know, after they settled all of those lawsuits, and, you know, settled with the distributor, they had a deal with Bon Ami. Well, they changed their name from Sugar Hill to Bon Ami Records. And then they had a distribution deal with MCA Records. So basically, we were like the ashes of Sugar Hill. And by then, nobody was really messing with them in the industry. And it was just whatever. It was almost like the heyday of Death Row, you know, and whatever's left of Death Row after everybody broke out, you know, and after Suge got knocked out, you know, whoever is over there would be over there. So it was kind of like that situation. So it never really went anywhere, but thank God we had Flavor Unit, Mark the 45 King. We ended up coming up and finding them.
So you went from Flavor Unit, from Sugar Hill to Flavor Unit.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, once we put out that New Style album, it didn't really go anywhere. We were cool with the Sons, though. So big shout out to Leland Robinson and rest in peace, our brother Scutchy, man. So we were all family. We never, yeah. Actually, and rest in peace to Joey Robinson Jr. as well, and Sylvia Robinson, man, yo. So Leland is a strong brother. That's still our brother till this day. We still always touch up with him, man. So, you know, they treated us well over there. I mean, we learned a lot about the game, you know, with them. They didn't necessarily rob us or whatever, because again, it was like the end of their heyday. But for us, we didn't even care. We didn't care about what went on before we got there. It was like, man, this is the legendary Sugar Hill Records, you know what I mean? And the people who ran it. So out of love and respect for them, we were like, look, let's go in. No matter what happens, we'll have an experience that'll take us, you know, further after that. So, you know, we gave them nothing but love. But after we finished with them, you know, because they're in Bergen County. They're up there by the George Washington Bridge. Where we live closer to Newark. So we live right next to Newark, actually. So we like 15 minutes, 20 minutes from them up there. So when we came back around our way, Flavor Unit was rocking. So that was Mark the 45 King. He had Lakim Shabazz, Latifah, Apache, Lord Ali Basti. I mean, Flavor Unit was really rocking. And Mark the 45 King was on fire back then. So he had a great relationship with Cool DJ Red Alert. So we started reaching out to Flavor Unit and we linked up with Mark the 45 King actually first. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they heard of us because the New Style, we had a name for ourselves, at least in the Jersey backyard, and they known us from being at all the talent shows. So we were like, bet, we want to get down. And then everybody had to come in Mark's basement to rock out and ciphers and all of that. And you really had to prove yourself. So that's initially how we got down with Flavor Unit. And, you know, Queen Latifah, she was their in-house girl, the #1 go-to girl. And it just so happens as when we got with them, Latifah and Shakim, her business partner, they were starting Flavor Unit Management. So we ended up being the first artists on Flavor Unit Management. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when we had to change our name because they knew we were still signed to Sugar Hill Records. You know, that's when that whole transition happened.
So let me ask you a question. So you mentioned Red Alert. Red Alert been on the show also. Shout out to Red Alert. So what you mean that they introduced you to Red Alert? What impact did he have?
Oh man, you know, back then in the 80s, man, Red Alert was hip hop. He was New York tri-state area hip hop. Him, Marley Marl, you know, Mr. Magic, you know, Fly Tie, all of those guys, man. But Red Alert was like the Funkmaster Flex back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then they were taking it to the Latin Quarters and Union Square and all of that. So if Red supported you and if Red liked you, man, you were on fire. So of course, back then, you know, us being from Jersey, if you went into New York, you couldn't even be down with hip hop. If you wasn't from the 5 boroughs, New York wasn't giving you no love. You might as well be from Alabama. You know what I mean? Coming from Jersey, that's the way they considered us.
Yeah.
However, you know, Mark the 45 King, he had a good rapport with the native tongues and cool DJ Red Alert. So that was that bridge. And really, Mark the 45 King should really get a lot of credit for bridging that gap with Jersey and getting accepted into New York hip hop.
Yeah, I would like to get him on the show, man. If you can make that happen for me, we need to get these stories out there, because there's a lot of guys that been in the game that don't get no shine because people don't forgot about them, you know. But we'll talk about that later. So how did you come up with the name Naughty by Nature?
Well, Naughty by Nature was actually the title of a New Style song. So it was a song we had as the New Style, which was on the old Sugar Hill label. And when we got with Queen Latifah and Shakim with Flavor Unit Management, actually at the time, hey, another Harlem Connect. At the time, Chris Lighty from the Violators,
God bless.
Rest in peace to Chris Lighty. Him and Shakim combined companies. So when we signed on, it was Flavor Unit, Baby Sounds. So Flavor Unit had Naughty by Nature, and Chris Lighty had Drez and Mr. Long from Black Sheep. So Chris was shopping Black Sheep and Shakim was shopping Naughty by Nature for record deals. You see what I'm saying? So when we first linked up, we were still called the New Style. First thing Latifah and Shakim said, y'all gotta change the name, you know, and we gotta shake that whole Sugar Hill thing so you have a fresh start. And at the time, you know, we were already like 3 years, almost 4 years in with the New Style. We were married to that name. So we were like, oh man. But, you know, we had to do it because, again, you know, we ran into a great situation. Flavor Unit was on fire. Queen Latifah had already dropped Princess of the Posse and all that. So they were rocking. We were like, bet, this is an opportunity. So we started digging in, man. And Treach went into that lyric book and he was like, yo, this name, Naughty by Nature right here, the title of the song that we got, Naughty by Nature. He was like, man, everybody is a bit naughty by nature, you know what I mean? And actually, Flavor Unit thought the name was too long at first. They were like, Naughty by Nature? Like, yeah, man, everybody is naughty by nature. So, you know, we held our ground and was like, yo, this is the name we're rocking with. And that's what we did. As a OG who was in the mix at that time, our brother Jimmy Henchman. Jimmy Henchman was in the mix. So really, it was Flavor Unit, Chris Lighty, and Jimmy Henchman. They were all in the trenches with us, man, making that transition from New Style to Naughty by Nature. So rest in peace to Chris Lighty, and hold your head, Jimmy Henchman, man. That's our brother. He's a good brother, man. He's always been a good brother to us, Jimmy Henchman.
So who came up with the logo?
There's a brother, Mark Weinberg. So once we signed the Flavor Unit, we got signed to Tommy Boy Records, you know. Actually, we were signed to Warner Brothers Records by way of Benny Medina. So shout to Benny Medina. He was managing Will Smith at the time. And if you look on our first 2 albums, Benny Medina is executive producer. So he signed us to Warner Brothers. And since they distributed Tommy Boy, but Tommy Boy had the street savvy with all of the, you know, hip hop they were doing, we got the album assigned to Tommy Boy, and we had a major record label deal and contract, and then we had that intimate street promotions from Tommy Boy, and we were able to rock out. So once we got in-house at Tommy Boy, the girl who ran our project was Monica Lynch. So she was the creative, the marketing genius. She hooked up with Mark Weinberg, who was designing all of the album covers for Tommy Boy. So they got together and they started working on this logo for Naughty by Nature, And Mark was the one at a dinner meeting. He took a crayon and he thought like Naughty by Nature is kind of like has that naughty childlike innocence to it. So he wrote it like in a kid's, handwriting, and he wrote it on a dinner napkin with a crayon. So there's a video on YouTube. If you look up Mark Weinberg and Naughty by Nature, he explains how he came up with it. But to this day, we have that dinner napkin with his original handwriting on it when he wrote the logo out. And it was before it had the bat. So definitely big up Monica Lynch and Mark Weinberg for coming up with that Naughty by Nature logo.
That's going to be a very expensive piece, man, somewhere down the line, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We put like dibs in on that.
You put it in something?
Yeah, well, we have it preserved right now. And actually, I'm hit Mark up because as we come up on our 30th anniversary, and then we have places like the Hip Hop Museum opening up, we would lend that and lease it to these museums so they could see these hip hop artifacts, man, because hip hop is incredible. One of the biggest cultures, in recent history. So like you said, all of these stories, all of these artifacts, they definitely need to be, propped up and represented and put in museums and stuff like that for the world to come see and get educated on this stuff.
Exactly. So so you went to Flavor Unit, you said you had an album. So what was the first record y'all went with on?
Yeah, the first record we went with was OPP. Back then you had an A, B side single because it was still vinyl. So the A side was OPP, the B side was Wickedest Man Alive featuring Queen Latifah. So when we first put out OPP as the first single, everybody, all the DJs were playing Wickedest Man Alive, the B-side, the B-side, the B-side, because it had the reggae little flavor to it and Latifah rocking on it. So everybody was going with that. But we all felt and knew the potential of the OPP sample, the record, because of the Michael Jackson and Jackson 5 ABC sample. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when we started, just pressing on that, Tommy Boy kind of sent it out to more DJs. Our guy Charles Dixon, hit it. And then cool DJ Red Alert started banging that song. You know what I mean? The next thing you know, MTV, they started showing hip hop a lot of love. They were just coming out with Yo MTV Raps, and it was Ed Lover and Dr. Dre and rest in peace Todd One. They decided to flip OPP to Down with MTV, and MTV did a whole big campaign throughout their whole network. You Down with MTV. They used all of their personalities, and man, that record took off after that. Crossed over, and man, the rest is history, bruh.
Yeah, that record, man. I'm gonna tell you the truth. That record was like an anthem, man, in every hood, man.
Yeah.
That all nationalities can relate to that and have fun with the song.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing about it, it was cryptic, the O, the P, and the P. And it's like, what does that mean,
Yeah.
And then lyricists, Treach did an incredible job breaking that down. One P is for the women, one P is for the men. And then, at the end of the song is for everybody, Until this day, people still trying to decipher, damn, what does that stand for? They still come up to us and ask us that question. And then, back then we had all of those stickers, Down with OPP stickers.
Yeah.
Tommy Boy made the first Naughty by Nature t-shirts with Down with OPP on the back. So us coming off the block, we always had our merchandise. So when they first made those first samples, man, we ordered up a gang more extra stuff so we could have it because, the label need their quantities to give out to their people. And then we just quadrupled down on our own quantity. We bought a gang of stickers, gang of t-shirts, just flooded the whole New York tri-state area. Like everywhere you went, you saw those stickers, those OPP stickers everywhere, man. And yeah, we were our own street team back then. We were rocking.
So let me ask you a question. So who idea was to come up with the merch? Because see, nowadays everybody getting merch now. Like my man here, this is his line and stuff. You guys came with merch early when it wasn't even that popular to get merch.
Right, right. Well, we always had merchandise even as the new style. And, when we chopped it up before, hip hop, when you were back in the day and you had a B-boy crew, your crew always represented. So you had baseball caps, you had the starter jackets, you always had the airbrush sweatshirts or t-shirts or whatever. So that was always a part of hip hop. But then when more artists started getting signed to labels, that hip hop element kind of carried over. So as the new style, we always had merchandise. But then once we had, got put on with Tommy Boy and we had the logo and they came with those first few promo pieces, we were like, bet, because we were really transitioning from the block. So we were like, yo, we know we got to leave the block alone, but now we got something that we could sell legitimately. And that's why it was a no doubt that we would just double down, triple down on our merchandise. And really we got in trouble for it because, when we first came out with OPP, the record blew up so big that everybody, they used to come from North Carolina, New York, Virginia, DC. They came from everywhere on our block just to see us. So we were like, bet. Well, we shut down the block and we started selling t-shirts from the block. So the block was crazy, literally cars up and down the block, just waiting to get the tees. And we had KG's mom and his sisters selling the tees. Right. So, when them boys got up on it, they were like, yo, we know that these kids, they got a block and some funny business is going on. So they really kind of lined us up and then they raided the house, yo. So, our first, when we first blew that summer, when we dropped our album that summer, we were getting a lot of money. We were doing like 3-4 shows a night, back then. And we was definitely putting money in the bank, but we had money in our safe in the crib. They came and raided the house, raided KG's mom's house. They took all of our merchandise money. They took the safe where we had the merch money in, jammed up K's brother. He caught a Fed charge, man. And we had to fight all of that joint back then. You know what I mean? And, it's pretty regular now, but back then, man, they put us on blast on MTV and everything, man. It was crazy, man. A lot of people don't know about this, but we're gonna have to pull this up for this 30th anniversary documentary, man. It was mad.
So they did all that because you were selling clothes?
Yeah, man. And again, it's like we got out of the streets just in the nick of time, because we had a run on our block, during those new style days. I've been on the block. Yeah, exactly. Block, yeah. So from even when we were in junior high, the area that our block was on, 18th Street and Eaton Place, that spot's been rocking since like the early to mid 80s, you know what I mean? Early 80s, when we were 12, 13 years old, 82, 83, that whole area was rocking. But when we doubled down, once we were like 15, 16, 17, we had a hell of a run out there. And just so happened when we signed the Flavor Unit and Tommy Boy in 1990, them boys was on us. So we got off the block just in the nick of time. And as we were trying to clean it up and just sell legitimate stuff, they wasn't trying to hear that. And to be honest, we did have a couple of guys who were still like, they were like, man, the block is still hot, but y'all picking up and going on tour bus trips. We're going to stay behind and see what we can make happen. So it was a combination of both that made them come so hard at us. But at the end of the day, they didn't find anything that we had anything to do with. And, we just had to fight to clean it all up. But we definitely got out of there just in the nick of time. Just in the nick of time.
Wow. So, but then y'all had a store after that, right? Y'all got a store?
Right. So that's what forced us to open the store. So once the feds came down on us, we was like, man, this is over. It ain't going to be no more curb serving merchandise. So we really got to legitimize this. And at the time, we had two people, LaShawn Coleman and our brother Hassan Mateen. They were from Jersey, East Orange with us, but they worked at Spike's joint, his clothing store in the heart of Brooklyn. Right. So we would go up there and check out what Spike was doing. And we saw it was right there, downtown Brooklyn, in the heart of everything. He was employing his people, and that was right in the middle of Malcolm X and Do the Right Thing and all of that. And, you know, his merch was popping. So we were like, you know what? This is a dope concept, because if we put up a store like the Naughty Gear store, not only will we have Naughty by Nature's merchandise in there, but any artists we put out, because we had Illtown Records, we put out the Rotten Rascals and Jeanne. So we were like, look, all of the label merch are going there. Treach has started to do films. So we were like, bet, we'll have a film company, and any film work we do, we'll put that merchandise in there. The concept was to have like our own little mini Disney store. And then the fact that, you know, all of the kids that's coming off the block, we could give them legitimate jobs. And then the cats who go on the road with us, when we're not touring, there's a hub there for everybody to have a job. And, you know, the mission was to just grow and expand the business. And that's what we did. But that's what forced us to open up the store. We opened that store up downtown Newark in 1994.
Wow. All right. So now you went to Flavor Unit, and then that was you put your first album out, right?
Yep.
And so what was your first big tour?
Oh, our first big tour was with Public Enemy.
Okay.
It was us, Public Enemy, probably LONS, Leaders of the New School, a couple of undercats, but we know that they were the headliners, man, and we learned a lot from them. Flavor Flav, like I definitely learned a lot of stage skills and those hype man skills from Flavor Flav, and we learned a lot from the S1Ws too, because they were the ones who taught us about the merchandise as well. We were like, yo, what are y'all doing with PE? Because PE had hot merchandise too. And they were like, yo, when we come off the road, we really handle all of the merchandise and make sure that's straight. So that's why I was like, bet, we could do the same thing with our guys who are on the road. But yeah, that PE tour was our very first big tour, man. And who better to learn from than Public Enemy? They were bringing the noise. They had the S1Ws. They were organized. And it was crazy because back then, you know, 40-ounce beers, the Old English 40-ounce was popping and rocking. And for us, it was like we were coming off the block. So we were Timberland boots and baggy jeans and Dickies and Carhartts and all that. And Public Enemy was on the conscious shit. You know what I mean? So when we were out there talking about 40 ounces and baseball bats and all of that, Public Enemy was educating people, and I remember they had a big old 40-ounce blow-up prop on their stage, and they were like, the death of this shit, blah, 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 trying to get our people to get away from the 40 ounces and the bullshit. But, you know, it was like the yin and the yang, and we learned a lot from Chuck and them, man, and they've been family ever since, yo.
So, Naughty by Nature, New Jersey. At that time, New York was everything in the rap game. So the whole New Jersey rode with y'all, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, because it was a long time coming, because everybody from Jersey knew that we were the stepchildren of hip hop when it came to New York. Because for one, out of everybody in the country, Jersey is the closest, right? Because it's right across the bridge. And then everybody from New York, Big Daddy Kane, Run DMC, all of those guys, hey, once y'all finish the boroughs, when you go out of state, the first state there is Jersey. So they was getting a lot of money in Jersey, and Jersey is big. So they was getting a lot of money in Jersey. And we always felt like, wow, we're welcome to enjoy it and buy tickets, but we're not welcome to participate and pick up the mic and rock. So we always had that chip on our shoulder when it came to New York hip hop. But again, once Naughty broke through and, you know, we got that love from the New York DJs and all of that, then we were like, bet, you know, we on now and we got to roll. And then, of course, from our block and everybody who was just happy from us, man, we rolled so deep. And we knew, like, when we did shows in New York, we had to come correct. So we rolled deep always, man. And, you know, we never really had any beefs with cats in New York or nothing like that. We always showed love and cats showed us love back. So it was a beautiful thing for us, you know?
Yeah, it definitely was, man. I can remember it very well. And to me, Jersey and New York are like family. When I say that, is that, like you said, when you cross that bridge, your first state is New Jersey.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, you hear New York radio stations.
Yeah, definitely.
Jersey doesn't have a radio station.
Exactly.
So it was only somewhere destined, somewhere down the line, that Jersey transitioned to the rap game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, man. It was like we were like the 6th or 7th borough, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You know, so we were like New York's country cousins, you know. they had love for them, but you know, that's my cousin from North Carolina. Exactly. They ain't New York, but they still family.
A lot of cats in New York lived in New York. I mean, did they business in New York, but they lived in New Jersey. Still to the day.
Yeah, definitely. Well, till this day, you know, that's why on the river there, they call that Rappers Row, because everybody, all the athletes, all of the, you know, all the celebs live out there. Actually, Treach is out there. I had a spot out there too at the Versailles next to the Galaxy, but I tucked it back in. I'm back in my hometown, working with the mayor and all them out here.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good. So, as your career went along, and you guys blew up. So how did you feel like after being in the game for a few years and the mark that y'all made in hip hop? How did you feel with all the attention, all the love you guys were getting all over the world?
Yeah, man, it was like that Will Smith movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. You know what I mean? It's like you work so hard, you put in so much grind, and then next thing you know, really when you least expect it, it just happens, and it happens big and it happens fast. And we were just on the roll. So it was definitely a sigh of relief, but we always had this thing where, yo, cats are going to sleep on us and they're going to think that OPP was a one-hit wonder, a one-hit fluke. You know what I mean? So we got to stay on point. You know what I mean? And that's why we always just concentrated on the craft and make sure we stayed on point and just delivered the music, deliver it consistently, and make sure you deliver those shows consistently. So we were definitely known for having hot shows as well. So I think that helped our legacy a lot, even till this day. You know,
where did Treach get that image with the chain, with the lock, and all that stuff?
Yeah, man. You know, Treach, you know, we come from the block, and we got a lot of guys that went down, you know, and did time and was doing time. And, you know, we all know till this day, we got cats is doing life on death row and all of that. So Treach, he represented the chain and the padlock for all the brothers who was locked down. And he made the song, The Chain Remains, you know. So he just did that because, you know, we blew up so big and we were on the streets and we were from the block. So we felt lucky that we kind of got over. We got out of the streets in the nick of time, or else we would have been jammed up and doing time. So when we out here living our best lives and enjoying this whole world, basically traveling and performing, Treach did that to say, listen, brothers, we didn't forget about y'all. You know what I'm saying? And hold your head, do your time. When y'all come home, man, anything we could do to help y'all, we there. You know what I mean?
Wow. And KG, man, KG. So let's talk about DJ. Let's talk about him for a minute, because that was like a few years behind when the DJ, you know, DJ is everything when it comes to the rap game. So
right.
KG came in right in the time where the DJ started getting very popular. So how did he feel about, you know, his growth being a DJ coming up in the game?
Well, you know, the thing about KG is that prior to us coming out in the 80s and definitely in the 80s, you know, the DJ was the DJ. So they were basically responsible for turntablism. And then the producer wasn't necessarily the DJ, just like Larry Love that produced for Run DMC. You know, Jam Master Jay was the DJ, but they had different producers who produced their music. Well, when KG came up, that was the emergence of the DJ actually being the producer. You know what I'm saying? So when I first linked up with K, he was DJing, but he bought his first Casio keyboard, and and his first drum machine. And that's when he started programming beats and sampling and all of that stuff. So KG is one of the first schools of DJs who are actually producers. And, you know, till this day, K is our in-house producer.
Right.
We collaborate with other outside producers, but when it comes to our group and that signature Naughty sound, that's how you get that signature Naughty sound, because it's all in-house. You know what I'm saying?
Question.
So K was basically the evolution of the DJ, or going from the DJ to the producer.
To the producer. That's big. That's big right there. That's good information. You know, a lot of people don't know that about, you know, that's why I want to, you know, get this interview, because I know Naughty by Nature is a big story and people need to know your story. So let me ask you a question.
Definitely.
So KG, when he what I was gonna say, when he first came out as the DJ and stuff like that, most of the groups had, Public Enemy had their DJ, Run DMC had their DJ, Naughty by Nature had their DJ. So pretty much that was like a trend going on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the DJ became the cornerstone of the group, and then everyone would big up their DJ. You know what I mean? And again, it was like back in the day, your DJ had to do all of these tricks, and, you know, they were known for that. And KG, he knew how to run records and do all of that, but that wasn't really his thing. His thing was producing, actually producing the music. So he's like, yo, what you see us rocking out there in the music and the records we put out, I produce that. You know what I mean? So I'm really leveling up as a DJ, because again, if you look at certain groups, the DJ is just a DJ, and if they're not in the group, they're just a DJ for hire. But when you're a producer, now you're getting into the music business, you know what I mean? Because there's publishing with that, and there's just accolades. And then as a DJ and producer, now you can go out here and get record deals, and you can produce and develop other artists. So that's what KG was doing. And once we established Naughty by Nature, we opened up Illtown Records, and that's when we had the Rotten Rascals, and K put out another monster smash, Hey Mr. DJ, with Janae. So that's what really started changing the game for a DJ and turning them into producers back then.
And Janae was from New Jersey, right?
No, Janae, Renee is from Brooklyn, and Jean, I think she was from Philly. Jean was the other girl, but they met at Temple University in Philly. I know that for sure. And yeah, they rocked out, man. Those girls are incredible, and we're still in touch with them too. So we got to get those girls back together for a reunion.
Yeah, get them rolling. So let me ask you a question. So all of those years you guys been together as youngsters, and today, how did y'all stay friends? How did y'all stay together? Because a lot of groups, they break up and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, we of course, like every family, you go through your ups and downs. But the thing about Naughty is that, you know, we come from a big family. You know, I'm talking about our blood families, and then our friends. It's like, literally, it's like where we're from in East Orange, it's a small town, and every third person is literally related to each other somehow, some way. You know what I mean? So when we go out there, it's like, we're representing not just ourselves, we're representing the city of East Orange, and then the city of Newark, and then Essex County out here, Irvington, Orange, you know, we're representing a big family. So it's not like the average group where someone put them together and then they go through their ups and downs and, you know, they fall apart and there's no real support group. When Naughty as brothers, we went through our thing, man, we had our whole community double down on us like, no, y'all not doing that. Y'all not going out like the rest of these groups. Whatever y'all got going on, you know, you got to fix that. And of course, everybody have their own little angle, and our family, our friends, they understand it. They like, we hear that, but this thing is bigger than y'all, man. This thing is bigger than us. Y'all are one of hip hop's good brands, man. So y'all got to get that thing together. You know what I mean?
And I can relate to what they're talking about, Vinny, because New York, right? I'm from New York, from Harlem. You got Harlem. Everybody got rep where they from. Harlem, Brooklyn, Queens, you know, Long Island, Staten Island, Bronx. But y'all from East Orange, and you just named Essex County, all these other Newark. You name all of these towns, and y'all holding them all on y'all back. That's big.
Yeah, definitely, man, because, it had been a long time for Jersey, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and for us to cross over like we did, it's like, man, we really out there as Jersey. So, we were repping for a lot more people than ourselves. And, we feel the same way till this day, 30 years later. It's like, yo, we're not just representing K-Vin and Treach. We're representing a lot of different people. And we got a lot of people who invested in us, a lot of people who supported us. They buy our merchandise and everything. So it's like, yo, it really means something to them, man. So when you out here, you got to conduct yourself accordingly, man, and be on point.
Exactly. So let's talk about the 30th anniversary now. Let's get into that. Let everybody know how that's going. What's up?
Yeah, man. Well, this year, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary. June of 1991, we put out our first single, OPP. And September of 91, we dropped our first album. So right now, 30 years later, 2021 is the 30th anniversary of that. So we're putting together documentary, 30th anniversary documentary. We're putting together new music. Actually, me, Kay, and Treach will be getting together this weekend, putting together new music, and we're putting together a 30th anniversary merchandise capsule. So we're going to hit them with a trifecta. We're going to, teach a lot of people about Naughty's legacy, a lot of stuff that they didn't know. And, just put the cap on this thing, man, because you got to celebrate it. You're not promised tomorrow.
Exactly. So, you guys going to record a new album, pretty much, or a single?
Yeah, we're going to record a shitload of new records right now, stuff to weave in and out of the documentary.
Right.
And by the time we tell our 30-year anniversary story, we definitely want to cap it off with a super strong, one of those classic Naughty feel-good party joints. But we definitely going to have some good street records and, the whole gamut, man, what we do. But we definitely not chasing these young cats out here. We call it adult hip-hop. I was talking to Treach last night. It was like, we doing adult hip-hop now. We 50 years old, man.
Yeah, listen, but you still got a lot of adults such as myself. We ride with y'all, so it's gonna sell. We wait.
Yeah, definitely. No, we know how to do it, man. We got it, and we got, a lot of nieces, nephews, sons, and daughters out there. So they check for us too. They check out the old heads and see what we're doing. You know what I mean? But we know we're blessed to have a big urban audience, a big diverse audience, a big crossover international audience. So we're not worried about that. We're just going to stay true to ourselves, do what we do and speak to where we are right now. Jay-Z is right in that, like, you got to speak to where you are in life. You can't chase what happened 20, 30 years because you're going to sound stagnant, man. And it's not to shit on anybody out here, but I see a lot of the vets out here, man, or some of the vets, they're still stuck in that street corner rap, that same lane, and you talking that same thing, and it sounds stale and boring, man. It's like, you don't have no growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you gotta grow.
Yeah. It don't make it's like it's not going to sell because people know that that's not your lane no more.
Right. Or your audience is going to shrink. You're just going to be rhyming for a smaller audience. And, people as they get older, their musical tastes evolve too. I mean, we run across that a lot too, especially with a lot of crossover guys. We'll run into some white guys like, yo, I was so into that stuff when I was in college. And now they're older. They go on to different music. Same thing for urban cats. They're like, yo, I rocked out with it. I still rock with it. I definitely don't rock with the new shit. I listen to the classics, but for where they are in life, they find and discover other music genres too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So 30 years in the game, anniversary. How y'all gonna promote that? Celebrate it? Like with the Queen Latifah, the flavor. Y'all gonna bring people in, Redman? Y'all going?
Oh yeah. We definitely have Naughty and friends, and who we're partnering up with on the documentary. I can't mention that right now, but is definitely going to be huge, man. And there's some surprises coming up because who we're working with, they're bringing back some iconic music shows, and the network is so huge, man, that the ad spin they're gonna do is gonna be crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Don V, you got the exclusive from me, man.
Yeah,
and
man, I
chat's
appreciate
gonna
it,
be
man.
like, yo, I have been. He was giving me the drop like
Yeah,
6
man.
months earlier.
Hey, listen, that's why I called you. I was like, I felt that energy when I was with you the other day. You know, I said,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta get Vinny because you was coming with it, but you couldn't really because of the time. You know, I was like, nah, I'm not letting that go. You know, because it's that time, man. Right now, a lot of people, if you notice, a lot of people from the streets, a lot of people from entertainment, a lot of athletes, they do it. So all about the story right now, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
A lot of people know
Well,
Naughty
and
by Nature, but they don't know Naughty by Nature story. They don't know Vin Rock. They know Vin Rock is come up at, but they don't know his story. And this is what brings people closer to you as a family, man.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, unfortunately, it's like, you know, the cats who get those looks, their lives are in shambles. Either you got to get jammed up, locked up, facing 10, 20 years in jail, or you got shot up. And it's just a bunch of drama, man. And, you know, I know that about media and the press. It's like, if you don't have a story that fits their narrative or a story that's going to, especially right now, be clickbait for them and your life is all fucked up, they don't want to talk to you. But, you know, with what we do and me in particular, man, I try my best to live a good, productive life, man, and a smart life. You know what I mean? There's a lot of young brothers out here who they get at me, man. They always ask me for advice. I'm known as a businessman. I'm known for working with my mayor and being hands-on with the community. But hey, if that's a story that's not, you know, interesting to the press, then that's cool with me. You know what I mean? I get my word out and I get my story out the way I do. I do it by my actions. I don't necessarily need them to report on it. You know what I mean? Because I know what their game is. I totally understand what their game is.
Yes. Hey, listen, Vin, we appreciate you coming to the show, man. You know,
yes, sir.
Always the brother. You know,
yeah, man. So for one, Don, I gotta send y'all some merch. You know what I mean? You're gonna send me your sizes and the shipping address. I'll get y'all something over there. And then when we get closer to this anniversary, I see now they opening up all of these states or whatever, and we'll be able to, hopefully by the time we get to September, we'll be able to have a sexy venue in New York or Jersey or whatever to really put this thing down. So you and your whole crew will get y'all laced up, you know what I mean? And y'all help us celebrate this 30th anniversary.
You know, I'm gonna pull up, man. You know, I'm gonna pull up, man. You know,
yes, sir.
I'm not too far from you, man, to keep it real, you know, so I'm gonna pull right up.
All right, cool. We got you.
You know what I'm saying, bro? But you want to shout out anybody before you go?
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to shout you out. Thanks for having me on. You know what I mean? And what y'all doing on the beat, 139 over there, you know?
That's right.
That's right. And everybody from Harlem, man, who showed us love, everybody from New York who showed us love since day one. We see that love out there. Thanks for having us Jersey boys, you know what I mean?
Right.
And hey, man, y'all just stay tuned. We're going to go hard with this 30th anniversary. Oh, visit naughtybynaturesstore.com for all the merchandise. Go to Ewan Athletics right now, too, because we got an exclusive limited drop on this Ewan sneaker that we did. So that's going to blow out. These are all collector's items. So collect them, buy 2 pair, hold on to a pair, and just watch them appreciate in value, man.
There you go, bro.